Many blessings, family. Right now, I'm hearing, in this turbulent time, many voices inside of me. One of the main voices I realize is a voice from the past, and it's a voice that's saying, you better not cry. You see, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I witnessed a lot of traumatizing events as a young man, and I had developed this internal regulator, a guardian, that protected me from being weak, from being vulnerable, from being a victim of those streets. And so it's very challenging to allow my feelings to just be what they are. And to a great extent, it feels just overwhelming with the waterfall of emotions, the sadness, the outrage, the anger, the fear. It's very challenging to sort out all of these emotions, and being sensitive energetically. My aunt that raised me, she used to say, oh yeah, Mike, he's just such a sensitive child. They tried to drill that out of me, but they just couldn't, because I feel what I feel, and today I am free to feel what I feel. And so I'm working through it just like many of you are. And in the midst of this voice that is trying to suppress this overwhelming emotion and the confusion and chaos inside, there is another voice that I can hear, a very clear, still small voice. And this voice shows up when I'm able to still myself, draw a breath, and just ask myself, what is it that I know for sure? What is it that I know for sure? And my breath, which is connected to my heart, allows me to hear the voice of truth inside of me. And I want to share with you three things that I know for absolutely sure. The first one is that there is only one breath, and that breath is God's breath. It is whole, it's perfect, it's complete. It is my breath now. It is your breath. It is the breath that breathes into me the inspiration of life. And what I know for sure is that when we come in from the spirit realm and we show up as little babies, like little Uriah, Deborah Landry and Janet Landry's little grandbaby, when we show up, the first thing we do on this realm, in this planet, is we breathe. We breathe in a deep breath of life, straight from the heart of God. And everybody around us smiles. Or if you see a picture of little Uriah, it'll make you smile too, because it reminds us that this breath of life, it comes straight from the heart of God. Yes. The second thing that I know for absolutely sure is that God is. And because God is, I am. And when I can stand in the truth of that knowingness, then I can throw my hands up and say, look, this is beyond my pay grade to figure out. But I know that there's a force for good. And I know that God's plan is always good, that God always wins. It reminds me of a scripture in Genesis 50:20. When the brothers of Joseph, who had sold him into slavery, found out that he was the big cheese, they were in serious panic. Joseph had something for them. He said to him, fear not, for I am a servant of God. And that's something that I know for absolutely sure about myself, that I am a servant of God. And I'm inviting you to know that for yourself, that I am a servant of the Most High. He went on to say, but as for me, you thought evil against me, but God meant it for good, to do as he has done on this day, to save many lives. And that's what I know for sure, family. That God is, I am, and that God meant it for good. And you know, out of this whole realm of sadness and racialized trauma, the final thing that I am convinced of is okay, now that I have silenced the phone, got the dog put up, the third and final thing that I know for sure reminds me of this Adinkra symbol. It's called Ginomi, to know God. I know absolutely without a doubt that I am connected to God. I know that right where I am, God is. And when I can just breathe and take a moment to focus on that breath, I am reminded that I breathe because God breathes me. That I am because God is. God is infusing me in each moment of my life with this wonder-filled gift of breath, breathing into me the light, the love, and the awareness, the awakening that there is a far greater thing happening than I can behold. God's plan is far too great for me to see all in once. And so it's like $1 million plan, and I get it a nickel at a time on an as needed to know basis. This loving presence breathes into me its intention, its light. And if I can remember to just breathe, I can download those instructions and be available on a moment-to-moment basis. Because right now, that's about as far ahead as I can go. Moment to moment. Remembering to just breathe. Remembering that there is one breath. That breath is God's breath. That breath is perfect breath. And that breath is my breath now. It is your breath now. Let us remember to just breathe together, to be open and honest with each other, to indulge in self-care. Take care of yourself. If you need to call somebody up, call them up and just tell them how you're feeling. If you need to cry, create space for yourself to just allow that primal cry to emerge through your heart. It's very cleansing. It's like allowing God to wash your face. And know that we are getting through this. That God has a plan. That maybe somebody meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, to save many lives. Just breathe, family.